My guest for the morning, just seated close to me, is Kamaldeen Abdullahi. He's the National Nasara Coordinator of the NPP.
Good morning.
Coordinating also activities in the elections that were convened over the weekend to elect Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo as the party's flag bearer for the 2016 general elections. We're also having in the studio Timothy Awunterim Atabwade. He was a former member of parliament for Bulsa, and he's in the studio as well. He's currently contesting to become the deputy national organizer of the NDC. Do you know how many delegates you'll be speaking to within the period?
I will be speaking to over 3,000.
3,000?
Yeah.
You have a lot of money.
You're lucky. You would have been affected by this clause, but for its
why would I have been affected?
No,
come on, don't start the thing.
No, I've never heard it.
Let's start
I was the
discussion.
constituency organizer.
Okay, then it's that.
Come on, have you
A former member of parliament.
No,
And
he's my
beyond
brother.
that,
You know what? Interestingly, well from Upper East. And I know him very well.
And
He knows me very
interestingly,
well.
I've been a former member of
He's my
parliament.
senior brother. In fact, he's my elder brother.
And I've been a candidate.
Unfortunately,
before,
he's in the wrong
2 times
party.
candidate.
It's in the wrong party.
Very wrong party.
Who determines the right party in this
Right.
country?
The party
Are
with
you in
that
the wrong
ideology.
party?
No, who determines that?
You don't even have an ideology.
I'm asking you a question. You're also asking me a question.
No,
Are
because
you in
the question-
are you in the wrong party?
I am not. I'm in a party.
So
that
let's start the discussion.
respects-
Public sector workers, they are declaring strike over a second-tier pension scheme, but government says action currently is uncalled for, and a number of labor unions, according to what the reporter, to embark on an indefinite strike from today to back their demand for government to allow them to manage the Tier 2 of their pension scheme, and according to them, they would only rescind their decision if government releases monies that had accrued so far from their Tier 2 pension funds into various schemes of their choice. And we have 12 unionized groups, and it includes the Workers' Union for Health, registered nurses, we have a medical association, we also have teachers, etc. Okay, so that's huge. And according to the groups, they have their own pension schemes, which were the health sector occupational scheme set up by the various ones, and well, they refuse to remain unconcerned when it is obvious that government's action and inaction in the implementation of the mandatory occupational pension scheme point to the eventual collapse of the 3-tier pension scheme, they stated. And according to them, the groups, they will use every means possible to resist all attempts by government to appoint the Pensions Alliance Trust, that's part, as a sole trust. Is it trust or trustee? I think it should have been trustee to manage their second-tier pension schemes. Well, it's a huge issue. And okay, let me start with you, sir.
Yeah, good morning to Kamaldeen, the national coordinator for Nasara.
You know each other very well?
Very well. Good morning to yourself. Good morning to your cherished viewers. It's interesting. Yesterday I listened to Labour, and I also listened to the Minister for Employment. The dispute here is not about their salaries, the allowances that they take at the end of the month, but about their pension, is it 2-tier pension that they would be enjoying should they go on pension. And as said, they were told yesterday about 2,000 of their workers will be going on pension this January. I think the issue is that, like the Minister of Employment said, it's being discussed. They've held about 8 or so meetings and so on. It's on. A letter was written to them to come forward, a further dialogue on the 14th and 16th. They never responded to the letter, and they went on without recourse to the regulation or law, went on back on indefinite strike yesterday, virtually to paralyze the whole economy. But when you look at the same, yes, if you look at CLOSAC, public service, looking at Ghana Medical Association, not look at the Ghana Nurses Association, it will eventually paralyze the economy because they contribute over 50% of the GDP of this country. And one day strike is going to cause a lot of uncertainty in the system. For me, I think that they should return to the negotiating table. I heard the minister saying that they are still available, they are at the office, they are surprised they went on that unilateral, strike. And the issue is that government is the employer. Government must be interested in the welfare of its workers. We all acknowledge, we all respect workers. Because I am a worker, he's a worker, we are all workers. We are looking at the end of our services, what is there for us to take home to. We know that a lot of people have suffered and continue to suffer in the face of their pensions and so on, looking at issues of even the what you call the Senate contributions and so on. I thought that there's still a way for us to go about this thing. We, at this particular time, when the country is bedeviled with issues of cholera and impending Ebola and so on, I should think that they should still go back to the negotiating table and ensure that the issues are brought to a final conclusion. Look, if we allow these individual schemes to operate the pension fund that they are talking about, we never can tell. We've seen such funds that have been collapsed in all sectors of this economy, even the Scandinavian countries and so on. When you look at the history behind this, and there's a need for government to tread cautiously and to ensure that the funds are properly invested, and people whose funds are invested, the dividends accruing to them are substantial. The interesting thing about this is that, like I indicated initially, it is not an immediate thing. It is, they are talking about next year, January. And government has even assured them that the 440 million that they've contributed so far is in the hands of the Bank of Ghana. And as a result, it is only for them to determine as to how appropriately it can be invested, who should be in charge, because they talk about the Pensions Alliance Trust, for which they disagreed. Government said, let's sit down and then negotiate. I heard the minister also saying that when Parliament resumes, he's going to go to Parliament to request for an emergency amendment to the Pensions Act to ensure flexibility. And there's currently a 9-member trustee, which government represent, 5 people represent on the trustee and so on. So I think that is not beyond resolution. We should sit down and get the matter resolved.
Well, the minister said, referred to the strike as unnecessary and uncalled for because they were dialoguing.
Yeah.
But according to the Act itself, the 2008 Act that was passed for the National Pensions Authority, it allows contributors to choose their own trusts, and 4 trusts belonging to the various groups had been approved. Okay. Now, we know that apart from government being a main employer of the public sector workers, private companies are expected to choose from these 4 main trusts.
Absolutely.
So why is it that why is that government workers then would have to be only tied down to the Pension Alliance Trust?
Well, very
because it's an interesting scenario if you take a look at it.
Roland, very good morning to our cherished viewers. You see, this government claimed to be listening, but it's the most unlistening government ever.
Why do you draw this
conclusion? In 2004, when the issue of pension for workers or organized labor came up, because they thought that from 1972 running to 2004 thereabout, they were always shortchanged. The lump sum that they take at the end of the day from Senate wasn't enough, or was problematic to even, access. So a whole lot of issues came up. Then the then government, under President Kufuor, then came out to say that, look, let us set up a commission to look into this matter, then come out with a solution. Indeed, a commission was set up. They went through it, discussed it with organized labor, discussed it with employers, and discussed it with government themselves. You understand? Then that was what gave birth to the Pension Act around 2008. I haven't concluded this. The agreement was that your lump sum is yours. You choose who uses the money to invest for you. Then when there's interest on the money, it comes to you because it's your money. Are you getting my point? Then it means that per the act itself, government was not supposed to meddle himself so much into someone's a beneficiary's lump sum. Are you getting me? Now, having accepted this,
because this one is not a contribution of the first year.
Absolutely. Having accepted this, then you go about implementing it. And an authority was set up. That's the Pension Regulatory Authority, to be looking into this matter as and when they have probably discussed with them and all that. But I'm just trying to give a history of it and then come to where my brother is now talking about cholera and Ebola instead of pension. You see, when all these happened, it got to a point where there's supposed to be some trustees to manage these funds. That's where the bane of the contention is, or the bone of the contention is, as it were. You decide as government, you are employers, and you want to decide who manage their money for them. Then they said, no, we are the beneficiaries. Let's also decide which scheme manages my money for me. So that what you do is that after the deduction, just transfer it into that scheme, okay, or that trustee. Then, of course, that trustee that I have actually, entrusted my money in will handle it for me. This is just a simple thing we can do. Trust me, fundamentally, I don't see why we should have a lot of problem with it. The money that you deducted, we all accepted. Today, as we sit now, we are in October. We are moving to November, December, January. Some people are due to take their lump sum per the new pension scheme. Okay, January. And you are telling me you've made deductions. They don't even know how much you have deducted. They don't know what you have sent the money for. They don't know how much interest is on it. So legitimately, are they not right to ask? That's just a simple thing. Legitimately, are they not right to ask?
Now, we know that
asked.
Okay. And have they asked? And they've not.
Well, we know that
is the dialogue.
So we know that dialogue is ongoing. Now, alongside the dialogue, then a decision is taken by the workers and the unionized groups to go on strike. Doesn't it smack of a sign that they don't trust government?
You see, it is not the matter of it smacks of a sign that you don't trust government. Government is also the employer. Government must be interested in the welfare of the workers, whether you are in active service or even you are outside your working years and so on. And government must take keen. That is why government is represented on the trust boards. And that is why government said that they were appointed the pensions alliance trust. And the point here is that they disagree that Pensions Alliance should be the trustees or to manage the sole trustees to manage the fund.
They didn't say they.
Yes,
that is not what the law says.
That is the issue.
That's not what the law says. That's what
excuse me.
Yes.
Yes, and if you have a problem, that is why the dialogue is on. The minister indicated that they've had about 8 or more meetings with them. It's ongoing. They've written a letter to them on the 14th. 16th, reminding them to come. They never responded, and all what government could hear is they've gone on as if they have a predetermined mind to go on the strike. You understand what I'm saying? Government has not in any way said that what their grievances were not being looked into. I remember a 3-member committee was set up, and the findings of that committee is what they are even discussing. But if they think that is not going on, the issue is not strike. You go on strike. My brothers, I shouldn't mention Ebola and then cholera. These are essential working staff, the health staff, the medical staff and so on, who are supposed to
it's not precisely the reason why government needs to preempt all
that is why,
and try to adequately dialogue with them, make sure that
the dialogue hasn't ended.
They have the trust of government, because right now it's as if they don't have the trust of government.
Roland, the dialogue is going, it hasn't ceased. I don't come to a Caesar. 1, 2, they are not striking.
When time is running out, they have the first batch that will go. They are not
striking because of their allowances, because of their salaries, because of emoluments. They are striking
because do understand that,
yes,
of course.
They are striking because of tomorrow and not today,
which is more better.
Look, allow me. Because of tomorrow, and that tomorrow would come because there's a discrepancy on who should manage it. Currently, they are saying they should be paid into their various trust schemes to manage it for them. We know from history and then from other management of such institutions that a such money that belongs to workers,
especially in other countries too. The precedent in other countries too.
How it has been mismanaged by the same officers who are asking that the issue should be left onto them solely and unilateral for them to manage. When they say mismanagement, government is also blamed for sitting aloof and allowing. So the guidelines should be drawn.
I disagree.
And then probably even workers, if you are taking this into a forum of all the workers, they would have seen that probably there's something somewhere along the line.
Roland,
we do understand.
Let's clarify something here. It is my money. You are taking my money.
No, we do understand.
The law says...
But it's not as simple as that,
it's not simple like please understand me. The law says that I choose which particular trust actually I want my money to go in. Clearly. Amongst other things. Now, if that happens, then I say that I am taking it to under maybe health workers something scheme. My money is going there. Then at the end of the day, I don't get my lump sum. Can I go back to government and tell government that you have not given my lump sum to me? No. So this idea of government will not sit down aloof and then find out and then make sure someone's money is not managed well. No. But you see, let me tell you, pension scheme per the law has a board that deals with it. On that board, the organized labor are represented by only 4 people. 4 people. And we have 14 people on that board. Government is represented by 8 people. 2 people come from the Employers Association of Ghana or whatever. You understand? Invariably, they are also part of government. Because government is an employer, they are also employers. So when there's an argument, at the end of the day, they all argue for the employers. What happens to the employees? The organized labor. Who are the beneficiaries? So you see, the argument is that we should even ensure that the fairness ab initio is seen. Because if that they are not well represented, even how do they actually discuss
I get your point.
for themselves to benefit a lot?
In some countries,
Yeah.
pensions are critical to government.
Very well.
Pensions are critical even to the workers.
Yes.
At what point do we need to say government needs to be entrusted with some level of responsibility and say, as far as we're concerned, when something untoward should happen, because government is what it is a state, government will take a lot more responsibility for. So there's a lot more assurance and security in the current arrangement than would have been in an arrangement where when currently we're being told that, well, as part of their grievances, they would want their monies to go to their own trustees. And so, for example, the health workers union, for example, they'll have their own trustee, etc. But that will be among the four, right?
Absolutely.
Will be among the selected four. And then at what point do we say, if you have one, it is negative or bad enough and doesn't inure to the benefit of the ordinary worker?
Why you know, Senate is a government institution, isn't it? Or government agency. Very well. Why did workers fight to get their second tier, pension
out of
Senate? Because fundamentally they didn't get the trust from there, and they thought they were shortchanged. They were not actually getting what they want. I mean, they deserve.
But it's
okay. Now the argument,
but it is also to present a better pension package for.
I agree. The argument went back and forth. Government barged and agreed that let's set up a particular, pension scheme where Senate is not going to be part of it again. They went out. Now, having gone out of it, now just to manage it, the simplest problem is that I want my money to go here because we are organized and we know how we'll get them invested for us, and then we get our interest out of it. Government says no, I'm going to put my hand in it. We didn't say don't put your hand in investment. In the board, you are part of it, or on the board you are part of it. At the end of the day, we are saying that just make sure that we are also involved so much because the money is ours and not yours. So I'm saying that, Roland, just to land, I'm saying that it's not about arguing that it's not their salaries, it's not their emoluments, it's not about this or whatever. Look, the truth is that what is due me ought to be invested well. Let me know if you're investing it, how much interest is on it. Let clarity come. Transparency is part of the whole thing. Then they will understand, and then you all move on. But otherwise, there will be problems.
Mr. Tabwade, we have a pensions regulatory authority. Then, if workers are saying we would want it to be spread in the way it's spread based on our choice, the regulatory authority can also undertake its supervision adequately, even if it's to individuals.
You can, but history would tell us that
it's not the best practice.
It's not the best practice. You talked about the board, fine, but the board alone is not enough. We do investments on our savings and so on, and workers are expecting better dividends at the end of the day. If we invest 1,000 cedis for about 30 years.
But also because the precedent for the workers has not been right. SNIT has even...
SNIT also has been fraught with a lot of
has even been investing
and you can even imagine
pensions
wrongfully and
even without recourse to those who pay the pensions.
Yes. And there have been a lot of problems that have been fraught with the operation of SNIT as a body. Cognizance of this, taking this cognition, we must ensure that whatever that we are doing and that benefits the pensioner, the more. There's history to tell us. He talked about the history of the second tier pension for which the law was promulgated during Kufuor's regime. With that promulgation, it had a good intention and a good spirit, and it must be implemented to the best of its ability and to the best to inure to the people.
That is what is now.
So if it is being done now, you see, we know Ghana, and we know how investment is done. Now, if we've seen even welfare issues, welfare contributions that have been managed by staff that have always been mismanaged, and it turned around that even workers who are supposed to benefit from those welfare issues now turn around to attack government.
Timothy, so why
if you put up a loophole attitude towards the welfare of your workers who will be aging and retiring, and in future they will be blaming you as an irresponsible.
Then you don't need a law.
Mr. Tabwade,
you need a law.
Is that not precisely these reasons you're raising? That's why we have a regulatory authority.
Yes,
that's
but the
supposed to
regulatory authority,
a lot of regulation.
Yes, and I don't think what the Minister of Employment vis-a-vis the dialogue between what the workers' union are doing is contrary to the law, or they are going astray as regards to operations of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. It's in tandem with them. It's a whole system that they need to come out with the best for the workers. what the workers are seeking is the best for them. Government is also seeking for the best for the workers. So what can we do? Let's reach a compromise. Let's reach a compromise that, and in future, will not regret. It is. I think it will take about 3 months or so from now.
Has government been very slow in undertaking the necessary dialogue up to now? Because if you are dialoguing, and it's in process, why then will the other party go on strike or take another action if their grievances were being met within the
In fact,
dialogue?
that would have been my second point I was going to come to. Just for want of time, you did not let me get there. You see, communication solves all problems in this world. If we can communicate effectively to each other and understand each other, not just communicating, but communicate to understand each other, then we'll never have problems. Government is on one side, organized labor on the other side, and other employers, private employers on the other side. All of them have interest in whose lump sum is supposed to be given who. Now, the point is that if you claim, per what Honorable Timothy said, that the minister came out to say that they have been on negotiation for a very long time, if that negotiation indeed was actually a very effective way of communicating to each other, we wouldn't have been where we are today.
Roland.
Primarily, I beg your pardon, primarily, it goes to mean that the stance taken by organized labor, the stance taken by government, there have not been any understanding between them. There have not been any effective communication between them. Therefore, let's resort to the language that government will listen more, which is maybe embarking on strike or laying down our tools and all that. So for me, what I would like to say is that let transparency reign. Your money, according to the minister, I heard him.
Yeah.
Haruna said that they've taken their money, they have the money there, they are putting it, and they should be assured of it. They said, let's know how much is the interest on it. That one, it has not been answered up to date. The minister could have not answered that. The point is that they think that, no, let us not get to January. When the first batch of people who are going to take their money go there and there'll be problem, then we, those who are going to take it next year or next 2 years, will have problem. So please, communication is weak, that is what is calling for this problem.
The interests of the workers are important, and you have adequately stated that government is also seeking the interests of the workers, just for the sake of tomorrow, because we all don't know what may happen. But at the end of the day, aren't the concerns of the workers also critical in fashioning out a process and a system that is agreeable for both parties?
You know, it's simple that when you are going to negotiation, to dialogue, you don't go there with a fixated position.
No. Is that what you're saying? The workers of the Republic are the public sector workers?
No, if you cut me like
that. But you said they have a certain fixation.
I didn't say they.
Okay.
I said when you are going into negotiation,
they have a premeditated mind.
Important not to go there with a fixated position.
So who went there with?
Please allow me. It's important to go there to leave room for negotiation. If you go there and the major demand is that the money should be spilled into the various schemes for them to operate.
But that's what the law says.
Please allow me to do that. And government is also taking precautions, not because history would also tell about investments and so on. How skillful are even these individual schemes able to invest? You know, investment is a whole research and a whole area for investment to be done. That's why even institutions sometimes appoint independent consultants on investments, people well versed with investment, to invest money for the appropriate yielding of dividends and so on. If you go there saying that government should yield to the fact that the money should be paid into the individual pension schemes for them to manage it, and government is saying that no, let us dialogue and reach an appropriate solution to the matter. Remember that the minister also said that when Parliament recalls, he's going to go there with an emergency amendment to the Pensions Regulatory Act to ensure.
That's what you should have been doing first.
But that is part of the negotiation. That is part of the dialogue. He has told them. He has told them. That is part of
this is in black and white. That this is what the law says. But the next moment you are
no, the issue is that this has been a dialogue. It's continued. It's not something that has stalled. And the workers who have declared the labor did not say that there has been a stallment in the negotiations and so on. They have not denied that the minister has not met them, or whether negotiations and dialogue has come to a standstill, and they've reached a dialogue, and that is why they are asking to go on that.
Granted all that you're saying, but it also sends a certain signal that despite all the dialogue that's been going on, government is not listening.
Why is government? If
Well,
the government was listening,
if government was listening, then the posture of the workers wouldn't have been as
government is listening. You listen to a minister, they've invited them for another meeting on the 14th, 16th. They never even responded. Apart from the regular meetings they've been holding, he has personally even consulted or told the
position of the workers,
the secretary of TUC, to even bring the inputs onto board and so on. All the issues have been discussed. It is left with reaching a compromise. Government is not against the workers. Government, in fact, has taken into consideration the welfare of workers today and tomorrow. You understand? And government is an employer.
Okay.
Government must be interested in your employees. What is wrong with government being interested in the welfare of its employees?
The posture of the workers. And
the posture of the workers is uncalled for.
And what
it's uncalled for.
What they want incorporated in this whole process, as far as the merits and demerits are, what are they?
As simple as that.
Suppose I choose the various schemes instead of only one.
Listen, I'm asking a simple question. Roland, per the law or the act which establishes
it allows the workers to...
Does it allow for these various schemes or not? Or various trustees or not?
It does.
It does. That's the fundamental question. Per the law, are they allowed to choose wherever they want their money to go or not? It does. So what is government's beef in this? My brother says here to say that government doesn't want any to sit aloof and see something
Certainly, responsible government must be.
Please. Then what you are supposed to do, that is where the dialoguing ought to have come in. The law is
dialoguing already.
Please. If the dialogue is actually deep and everybody understands, you government, you say that, look, this is my proposal. This law says this. But I think that if we are not careful, at the end of the day, we may have problem. We can go to Parliament, seek for to amend some clauses out of the law. Then we'll be able to put our hands in your, to give you that security that you need on your money. That has not been done yet. You haven't said anything. You go back and forth with them on meetings, and then you are not doing what the law expects you to do. And you say they shouldn't cry power. And then you are saying this. You want to behave contrary to what the law says. The law says that the law says that allow them to choose a scheme or the trust.
You are seeking to rule this country.
Oh, please. I know.
Don't seem to be urging on.
I'm not urging on. I am speaking on the face of the matter. And the matter says that
I have the politically.
I have the right. It's not political.
Okay, enough, sir, gentlemen.
Roland, just a minute.
No, Mr. Tabwade, no minister. You have your turn. Now, I asked you a question for which you went on and still haven't answered. And fundamentally, you've established whether the law allows...
I was trying to answer it.
Yes. Now, I'm asking, what merit is there if we have the multiple trustees? Or what merit is there not if we only have one?
Very good. When we have one,
for the public sector workers, because I know for the private sector, you're supposed to select from the four.
It's the public sector I'm looking at. You see, if we have only one, we are going back to the last time when we had, or the first time when we had Senate handling it, where they claimed it was problematic. Accessing was a problem, and other things. Now today, if we are able to have at least 1 or 2 or 3, 4 trusts, that each person chooses wherever he belongs or she belongs, okay? Access in the first place on the merit of it will be easy. Okay? 2, accountability will be very easy because the person knows where my money has gone and what investment they've used it for.
Well, if you have only one, isn't it better?
If you have only one, listen, if you have only one, how many of, look at the chunk number of people who, of course, are supposed, the number of
we have Senate has done a good job.
Oh, Senate, why did they move from Senate? Why did they move from Senate in the first place? Because they had problems with Senate. And they were saying that they were not happy with the way, they were not happy with the way things were going at Senate. Therefore, they were advocating for, this regulatory to come in, authority to come in, and then they'll get it. Now, I'm saying that on the face of it, if we are able to get these things paid in my choice or my scheme of choice, then of course at the end of the day, I will render the accounts rendered to me will be very good. Our accessibility will be easy, okay, and I'll be sure of where I chose. At the end of it, the government has no hand in whatever I did, whatever I'm doing. If there's a problem, I have a problem with the particular trustee that I have chosen to handle my funds, and that's the way it goes. So they only want assurance, they want security, and with security, they can give it to themselves by choosing the scheme that they want their money to go in and move on. That's all. And you are saying that I want to choose for you. You can't choose for them. Allow them, because until you change that law, you cannot choose for them.
You know what, Roland? You know the interesting thing. If government said that the Pensions Alliance Trust should manage the funds for purposes of maximizing profits and so on. And they said no.
Based on the agreement of the workers.
And based on even what he's saying. Now, government is not saying that it must be done hook, line, and sinker. That's why government accepted that let's reach a compromise, and at the end of the day, we all workers who are retired.
But why is government insisting that it should be the pension alliance?
No,
only the pension.
No, you listen to the minister. No, that was initial.
Okay.
That was the initial.
No, listen. Let me read this to you. Explaining why
that was the initial when government appointed.
Let me read this to you. Explaining why he, that is the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, refers to that's the strike action as unnecessary and uncalled for. He said at the last tripartite meeting on October 18, 2014, it was agreed that the matter would be discussed further, with the government agreeing to review the Pension Alliance Trust rule to satisfy labour in the management of the second-tier system. It gives all indication that the current arrangement with the Pension Alliance Trust is holding. But then the relationship and the way they undertake their activities will be altered in a certain way.
That is true. Okay.
So it also gives an indication that government is insisting that Pat should be the trustee.
Yes,
the pension alliance.
That's the pension
alliance. Why is government saying it should only
by
be
the
one?
Statement, Roland, that was government's initial position, but it's being
still
reviewed.
Government's initial position.
Because it's there already, so it's still being reviewed to suit the demands of workers. You know, I told the government must also be interested in how the funds should be invested. One, you remember Piram. Remember the scandal of Piram?
No, it's a private.
I'm saying
it's a private microfinance.
You don't.
You can't compare.
Allow me to talk.
Is it the same equation?
No. I am saying that.
Sorry, let him talk.
I am saying that this was even a private.
I know that you don't like the interjection.
Yeah, I know. We know that this was private individual investment, but when it failed, people took on government for government not taking the necessary precautions to have prevented a fraud on the people. You understand what I'm saying?
But people
These
also
were
took on
individual.
People took on government, not necessarily government, not even the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, for not ensuring that there's due regulation. And as a result of that, we've had sanity in the industry, and so the various microfinancial institutions now are adequately regulated. Now we're talking about we already have a regulatory institution as far as pensions are concerned. Now it is the process of managing whatever contributions there are for the second tier that's the subject of debate. Now the workers are saying, and you have to listen to the workers. The government needs to listen to the workers. You are saying a sole trustee. We don't want a sole trustee. You are saying the sole trustee will still be there, but the modus operandi of the sole trustee will be the subject of our discussions and alterations. And the workers say they don't want. Why government can't listen?
I think I've said it. Not the government is not listening.
Please say it again.
I am saying that the individual trustees, the individual schemes that wish that the money should be distributed to them for their own management, there can be danger ahead that we are not. And government must be able to preempt that because of historical.
No, sir. Please let him make his point.
Because even in Scandinavia, this what do you call this pension funds were mismanaged. And even look at where the institutions are working, like the Scandinavian country. We know them: Norway, Finland, Sweden, and then one of them. What is the third name? Denmark. These are countries that have had institutions that have been tested and tried, yet they were mismanaged. How much more or less in our country, where institutions are virtually not working, that we need to safeguard the deductions from the workers. We need to put them into investment that are high yielding, so that at the end of the day, the law will not be defeated. Look, the issue of the second tier came as a result of experiences from the Cap 30 that was being implemented by workers who were captured within the Cap 30. They took on huge lump sums of money. So those who were not under the Cap 30 found that it would be prudent on their part to go onto the second tier pension fund, so that it can be invested, so that when they go on retirement, they can take a lump sum to be able to invest while they are on pensions. There's nothing wrong with the law. There's nothing wrong with the good intentions of the law, vis-a-vis the operators of the fund and so on. The issue is agreement. You are asking the government should not appoint a sole pensions alliance trust like it's being done now. The government said, let's sit down and dialogue and see where the demerits and the merits are, so that we can reach a compromise. All what we are doing, you cannot expect, Roland, the government is the employer. We should sit aloof and put the money
The point is
for
to be
the
made.
danger, for the potentiality that it might not be properly be invested. We have known how schemes in this country.
Oh, that's okay, sir.
We spent about 45 minutes saying one thing. Just one.
Which is what?
All that we said, he said, all that I said.
The workers have even done well. They've spent months
Government
and
would
they've gone
not
on strike.
listen. Listen, he says that government would not actually go into a negotiation with fixed mind or fixated mind. When in fact, at the end of the day, he's telling me that that's what government is doing completely. Because, no, per his submission, he says government will not sit down and look at someone's money or someone's future, you know, toyed with. Because if government sits down and do not actually put their hands by proposing that we need a sole, you know, trustee to handle this, and then at the end of the day something happens, okay, government is going to be blamed for that. And I'm saying that, look, the persons who are the beneficiaries say no. The law says give my money to me to put here.
Who are
Then,
the beneficiaries?
excuse me, who is supposed to be who are due for fair pension?
Workers of Ghana.
Workers of
But
Ghana.
I don't
And
want to go into the
please let me now.
situation.
Now, if they are the beneficiaries, and you, per the regulation there, per your own whatever that you've agreed on, it says that this is A, B, C, D we're supposed to do. As simple as that. If they come, allow them to go ahead and do it. But you sit here and say government will not allow it because he is anticipating, or government is anticipating some mismanagement of kind of. I mean, when you've not even tried the people, you've not tried them, grant them that, let it go, so they will be.
And the question I have,
There are historical facts.
and the question I've had consistently
Yeah.
is that the regulation of the law provides for a supervisory authority, and we
Very
have the
well.
National Pensions Regulatory
Authority there, yes.
And so, why is it not possible that we're going to have a regulatory authority that would ensure, even if the workers are in agreement for a plethora of other schemes,
Yeah.
to be brought onto the system or into fruition, for them to be adequately regulated in the future?
That's all.
And so, the question also we need to raise: why is government insisting on a sole trustee?
Absolutely, that is where the problem is.
see-
You see, no, please, you had enough time. The point is that, you see the suggestion you just made, if government is listening to you, the minister is supposed to take it, a cue from you. The point is that you have you have a regulatory authority in place, like you rightly said. If we are saying that we need a plethora of schemes under this,
Which
ensure that the regulatory commission or
Which is regulated by law
authority
and stated
actually
by law.
takes care of them. Whatever they go by, whatever ethics that ethical what's the name codes that will be laid, and then they do not act outside it to be able. I mean, for the fear that we have to actually be kept, as it were. Because if I have my fear that it may be mismanaged, or you have the fear for me, of course there's a regulatory authority there. Let them take care of it, and if there's a problem, they would have to see how they can handle it. But at the end of the day, if we are not listening and we want to allow this banter to go on, I say this, organized labor say that, I say the organized labor say that, then we are not reaching anywhere. Then there'll be a problem.
But now the workers have gone on strike. Yeah. Productivity will be lost. Yeah. And depending on the number of days, the number of weeks that they go on strike, I'm not sure this is going to last long. Yeah. At the end of the day, a lot will be lost as far as revenue is concerned. Yeah. And now government needs to look at specific ways of dealing with the grievances of the workers. Yeah. How do we go forward on this very matter?
You see, the forward has already been stated.
Which is what, dialogue?
Dialogue.
It's failed.
It hasn't.
It's failed. It needs to be adequately reconstructed.
Roland, would you allow me? It hasn't failed. They haven't said it has failed. It is ongoing. It's currently ongoing. Even as at yesterday, as at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the minister was still in office. A minister said that...
Well, we had him on radio.
Oh, please, allow me. He had written to them.
So let him talk.
He had written to them 14th and 16th to come for the continuation of the dialogue. It hasn't failed. You see, there's an issue of they asking for this, and the government said, let's continue with the dialogue and reach a compromise. Government has not done anything that goes contrary to the law or the National Pensions Regulatory Authority's functions. But government must also supervise, because government has an interest in the welfare of the workers of this country. You understand? So we must ensure that the dialogue continues while workers go back to their offices and continue to do the work. You might not know. Tomorrow we are sitting here. One of us, our relation could be rushed to the hospitals, needing emergency, attention, and this thing will go haywire.
True.
Secondly, to government, the minister also indicated that Parliament will be recalled very soon. he's going to go to Parliament with an emergency amendment to the act.
Why are they not listening to government? It's a question of act. You
actually brought the issue of trust from the beginning. Probably the labor union
they don't trust government,
not trust
do they?
government.
Absolutely.
Let me say that they might not trust government because they've taken a stand, and their stand is simply to allow the schemes to operate their various funds and to ensure disbursement. And the government said no. Your money is there. Let us reach as to how it is supposed to be invested. That is where the trust actually is missing.
Come on. How do we go forward? The NPA, that is the National Pensions Authority Act 2008, Act 766, allows contributors to choose their own schemes out of 4 that already have been designated and chosen. So, what should be the approach?
Simple. To settle this matter, there should be an excellent dialogue where there's excellent communication, because, like I said, the remedy is there already in the law. Until that level remedy is actually, or that law is amended, then of course we have nothing to do. If the workers say we have the right to choose whatever we want, and that is what the law says, let government listen to them. Allow government should listen to them and allow them to choose the schemes that they want to belong. Then we move on. But if the point is that it's not that the money is not there. No, that's not the point. Government has not come out to say your money is not there. The money is there. The point is who manages my money. Take my money to where I want it to be, then let it be managed, let it be invested, let me know the interest that is on it, so at the end of the day I know how much lump sum I'm going to get when I'm out of it. And the point also is that by January, are we sure with the posture taken by government? Because all of them don't even know how much has been deducted. They don't know where the money is right now. Okay, at the end of the day, are they sure that those who are due for pension in January will be given their money just in 2-3 months' time? That is the problem. So government should come out clear and be transparent on this matter. Then we can move on.
But I should say, across the world, many pension schemes, whether our system is replicated based on what exists in other countries, are usually vested in state institutions or quasi-state institutions, regulated in a way. I'm not saying that we have a SNIT type. Apart from the SNIT type, they have these ones that have been approved. And our law approves of 4. Okay, now we have to move our discussion, and we're about to close our discussions for the morning as far as AM Talk is concerned.